Welcome to Mighty Married Moms. Join us at our kitchen table twice a week as the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Linda, Wendy,
invite spectacular guests to weigh in on staying sexy, vibrant, and healthy,
building marriages with soul-satisfying connection, raising happy, healthy, successful kids. Conversations with Mighty Married Moms will bring you closer to the life you really want. Episode 55. Hi everyone, welcome back to Mighty Married Moms. Today I'm really thrilled to be able to introduce you to Vicki Higgins. Vicki is the go-to business and life consultant for the performance-driven senior executive who wants more out of life. She blends the practical aspect of business strategy with high-level personal development so you can achieve elite results in all areas of your life. Vicki is an international speaker on the topics of elite performance in business and life, Leadership in Stilettos, which is the name of your upcoming book, which I love, and Transforming to Your Encore Career, which is also interesting. She's been in a whole variety of corporate positions at all sorts of senior level positions, but is currently the founder and CEO of Accelerated Shift Marketing. And Vicki is a new thought leader and teaches courses, workshops. She speaks around the world. She's appeared on a variety of media outlets and magazines. And she's a published author. She's got a chapter in this book, No Mistakes, How You Can Change Adversity into Abundance. And this is a great book. I encourage you to get it. And we'll also hear some more about leadership in stilettos, which is coming up. Yeah. So Vicki, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you all so much for having me. It's really a pleasure.
Yeah, that's great. Well, why don't we start by, just giving our audience a really quick rundown on how you got from where you were, whatever that may mean to you, to where you are today.
Sure. Today, I am thrilled and happy and love every area of my life. And as we talk through this session, I do categorize things into areas so I can be really clear that I'm hitting my goals. But life wasn't always so fabulous. I grew up in Indiana, small town. My mom, dad, and little sister were great when I was very young, but my dad was a race car driver, and he had a lot of accidents and injuries. And whether that caused brain damage or whether that caused him to, or maybe he just had the tendencies for being bipolar. But from the time I was about 7 until about 14, life was a bit of a challenge. So I experienced verbal abuse. I experienced physical abuse. There was a moment that he came in and just whipped me and couldn't stop. He was in such a rage and had welts up and down my back and legs. And so coming from that experience to making a decision at about age 14 when my parents divorced that I was going to change my life. I was going to reset my life. Okay. And I didn't even know it at that time how to do it, but I knew at that time I was changing my life. Yeah. So through the course of education and taking on different corporate jobs, I was able to make a lot of changes in the way that I lived, and I took notes all along the way and realized that, as I journaled and as I took these notes, that when I had moments in time where I went through a divorce and I had to rethink who I was and reset my life again. And then I went through a struggle. I moved from Indiana to California, got myself into some debt. The economy changed. All my money was gone, and I really didn't understand where I was at and had to reset my life again. Wow. I always kind of constantly went back to these steps that I'm going to share with you today on how to reset your life. And then I was the executive vice president, chief marketing officer of my company. I had offices in London, Sydney, Australia, China. Most people would think that sounds amazing, but there was something in me that wanted more out of life, and I wanted to create my own life and be in control of my own life. So yet again, about a year ago, I reset my life again. So there's a constant theme in my life of reinvention and resetting, and that's what I'll share with you today. A couple little tips and tidbits on how to make some changes, whether it's in parenting or relationships or finances or other areas of your life that might be that you might just want more out of.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. And I think we're all in a position where we're periodically resetting and
we're resetting right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Really, with Mighty Married Moms, we're resetting.
We're resetting. And sometimes people, I'll be in one of these personal development places, and somebody will say, what's the one phrase that you say to yourself over and over, right? Well, I have discovered that the phrase I use for myself is, what's next?
Uh-huh.
I'm always asking myself that, totally subconsciously, what's next? So I am dying to hear what you have to share with us about how to do the what's next.
Right.
Right. I'm excited.
Steps to get there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
great. That's great.
So I would like to know more about this whole concept of resetting and how do you keep yourself from saying, we had another conversation earlier today. How do you keep yourself from not saying, oh, well, I don't have the goods to reset, or that's a nice vision, or that's a nice what's next, but I'm ill-equipped. It's not me. How did
What's
you
the
kind of
mindset?
Transition? Did you ever play yourself out?
I love that question. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because when I was younger, I had a real issue with self-esteem. I didn't feel like I was pretty. I didn't feel like I was smart. I didn't feel like I could do anything right. I was really uncertain of my abilities, and it caused me to kind of hold inside and stay put and be afraid of decisions. And it also caused me to ask other people what they thought I should do instead of me really following my inner guidance. So it took me a little while to believe in myself and trust in myself. And, to be quite honest, I dove into books. I really didn't feel like I knew how to communicate with people or how to create what's next in my life. And so I read a lot of books. I mean, I'm a bit of a book nerd and clearly a writer, but I've read over 500 books on personal development, business development, how to be a better person, how to be better in business. And it gave me a lot of insights, not only on the tools and techniques that they use, but it also gave me a lot of insight that, oh, wow, I knew that, or, oh, that's what I thought, And so
it validated
confidence.
you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think I'll just add to that really quickly. I really want to just make a point that we all have our own inner GPS system. It's our own path, our own direction, and that feeling, that intuition, that gut feeling, that guidance, that's going to guide us on our path. And no matter how many outside people we talk to, they can only tell us what they know from their experience. So finding a way to really start trusting that inner guidance system is the trick to what's next. Like, that's the gold right there. That's the secret to getting into the really juicy stuff that creates an amazing life.
I love that. That's really good. Your own inner GPS.
Yeah, your own inner GPS.
And trust it.
Yeah, and trust it, right. It's interesting.
And know that it only gives you like 1 or 2 steps at a time. It's not going to tell you how to get from LA to Arizona in all 88 steps.
Right.
It's going to give you 1 step, and then the next turn, and then the next step. So I just think that, being patient with yourself and trusting that guidance 1 step at a time is really important.
Right.
Being patient is
Patient is a good one.
That's
We're all writing that word down.
right.
It's so hard to have. You always want to, you see people like you who are, at this certain level of success, and we want to get there, and you just want to jump over. And there are
right.
Way you do.
Yeah.
I understand.
So why don't you articulate this a little bit, Vicki? So if I'm somebody, I feel like life is passing me by, I'm not where I want to be, what should I do?
I've created 5 steps in the book, and I find that they're really helpful. They've been the 5 steps that I've used in this book, and No Mistakes. And in No Mistakes, we talk about 5 steps to kind of resetting your life, basically. So if you find yourself that you're out of time, you're in a job you don't like, you're in a relationship that's really, you're uncertain about the future, struggling with like what to do with your kids and finances, any one area of your life or multiple areas of your life. For me, it was multiple areas a couple times.
Yeah.
So I really think it's important to step back and take some time and really understand like what your foundation is. So let's set the foundation. Where are we right now? So what's happened in my past? Am I holding on to anything? Is there any, so many people have a challenge or something and they just hold on to that. And we all come from a someplace, that some experiences, and we have our own personal beliefs and our feelings and thoughts on things. And so just really setting that foundation. Who am I? What do I believe? Who am I? What's the foundation that I'm building on here? Is there anything that I know of right away that I need to work on? So the foundation is the first thing. That's step number one. Step number two is find the gold. So I have found in my experience that when I was going through a challenge, sometimes I would just hold on to that challenge. I would join a support group about that challenge. I would just stay stuck in that challenge forever. And it was so funny because when I realized that like I was just latching on to the challenge instead of letting it go, I really recognized that the challenge is the path. The challenge is where we learn our lessons. Even though some challenges are more traumatic and tragic than other challenges, those are the places that we learn our lessons. It's the opportunity to turn around and help someone else. It's the opportunity to learn something more about yourself. It's finding a way through it and feeling empowered on the other side. So being able to find the gold in the challenge is step number two. Yeah.
Can I just ask a question, like to be very clear for me, because I need sometimes things to be very clear. You mentioned in the beginning that you had an abusive time with your dad specifically. So is what you're saying is like if you were at the age of 35 years old and you were constantly going to child abuse support groups and living in that story and saying, yeah, I'm an adult child abuse victim, and then that's kind of, if you said that's who I am, that's where I live, as opposed to saying that is part of my story, so I can really contribute to other people, other women, other children, or whatever, turning it around and contributing rather than kind of living in it and kind of owning it and wearing it and swimming in it.
Yeah, it's a real label.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So many people stay in the victim mode and they join support groups, which is fine to get through the challenge, but don't stay in it. It's so interesting that you bring up age 35 because my father left when I was 14 and I didn't see him again until I was 35.
Wow.
And when I was 35, I flew to Florida for a business and found him and saw him and did a lot of forgiveness. And it was a really big shift in my perspective at that age. And that was about 10 years ago. And I recognized that, he is just this sad little old man that didn't really live his passion. And he was struggling to stay in some form of sanity of life. And I felt sadness for him. And I felt forgiveness. And I also realized, I don't know, everybody has different spiritual beliefs, but I realized that, wow, if someone came here and decided to play the bad guy so I could learn my lessons and do amazing things, then that's a beautiful thing. And so I just really had a soft spot in my heart for him choosing to play that role in my life.
Wow.
And being able to allow him to express his love in a way that was pushing me along on my path. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
That's profound.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
so
really,
again, finding the gold, looking at things from different perspectives. And I just had to keep looking at things from different perspectives to find the good that came out of those elements. Of those.
So step two is not finding the goals, GOALS, it's finding the GOLD?
Gold, GOLD.
Oh, okay, that changes
Finding
things.
the gold.
Got it. Great, that helps. I wrote goals.
Yeah, find the gold, whatever it is that instead of holding on to the victim part of it, whatever it is that's the lesson, that's the beauty, that's the gold and the real lovely thing that can come out of that challenge. Because for every action, there's a reaction. For every situation, for every bad, there's good. So finding at least as many good things, if not more, than bad things. So really doing that work. I made a lot of lists. I was like, where's the good stuff here?
Right. What a great reframe. What a great perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how important it is to go through that process. I mean, I think you probably still have to acknowledge that you're hurt.
Oh, sure.
Move past that hurt and turn it into something that is valuable.
Yeah.
What a great.
And you don't have to sit in the hurt. You can acknowledge it and recognize that it happened and I'm going to place it here. I'm not going to forget about it. I'm not going to put it in a closet. I'm not going to not deal with it. I'm going to handle it and I'm going to address it when it comes up for me. And then I'm going to sit it over here where it needs to be because it's in my past.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to look at what's next.
What's next?
What's next?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, what's step 3?
Step 3 is a really fun step. Step 3 is writing down your dream life. And there are a lot of people who struggle with this. I was one. I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what my life would be. So I decided to make some lists.
Okay.
Moms are great list makers, and I was like a great list maker.
Yep.
So I defined 8 categories of life. You can have whatever works for you. This just worked for me. A few of these things were shared with me at a really young age when I was getting divorced, and I've kind of added to the list over the years. And these are in no particular order. I imagine them when I write them down in like a big circle or in a wheel or in a pie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about how full is my tank? How full is my gas tank in each one of these areas? And so I'll walk through them with you. And they may or may not make sense to you, but they work for me. So hopefully they'll help.
No, I read about them. I know they're great. They're great.
So writing down your dream life, in my perspective, dream life could be like jets and planes and whatever. But for me, it was more about life success. Like, what are the elements of my life that I want to feel really fulfilled in? So my faith, whatever that means to you, whatever your faith is, your spirituality, your religion, how fulfilled are you in that practice? And are you continuing to grow? And are you continuing to get pleasure from that practice? The next one is your family. So, and that can be your immediate family, that can be extended family, that can be adopted family, that can be friends that are family. So whatever that is, like, how full are you? Are you spending enough time in those relationships? Are you checking out are you doing dinners at home? Or if that's important to you, are you seeing your kids' dance recitals or baseball games? Would you like more in that area? Are you very fulfilled? Is your gas tank full? Mm-hmm. Or are you on like half empty and you need to do a little work in that area to really have more quality in that area? Mm-hmm. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. The next one is friends. And I believe that you are like the 5 people you hang around with the most. Yeah. So who are your friends? You're in good company right there. You're in good company. Yeah. So if you have friends that are negative Nellies and that are always like talking about people or gossiping or bringing you down, then it might be time to look at cleaning up your friends and getting around people who are empowering and positive, change makers, people that are just supportive and encouraging and helping you fulfill your life purpose. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's great to have people that we've been associated with all of our life. I have friends from high school and college, but I always really protect that very close-knit inner group of my 5 closest friends, because I know those are the ones that are like empowering, and my tank is full in that regard. And I just would say, like, look at the gas tank perspective, are you really fulfilled when you're around your friends?
Yep, that's really good.
Another one is health and fitness. So fitness is, if we don't have our health and our fitness and we don't feel good, we're not good in any of these other areas. So,
It says Linda, our health coach.
Yeah, absolutely. So taking time for yourself to feel good. It might be a walk. How full is your tank on health and fitness? Are you dealing with some issues? Do you have diabetes or some heart issues or high blood pressure? Have there been some wake-up calls? Do you have fatigue? Are you just lacking energy? There could be some things that are just causing you to pay attention to that area. And I think when we get those diagnosis moments, or when we have those moments, it's causing us to pay attention to that area. Again, not be a victim to it, but say, okay, what can I do to really improve and be more fulfilled in my health and fitness? Is it parking at the end of the parking lot and walking in? Is it going for a walk at lunch? Is it taking your lunch and recognizing that the food that we eat is to provide nutrition to our body, not just because of the flavor? So really looking at health and fitness and what you do, what makes you happy, what brings you joy. My friends ask, like, how do you work out all the time? And I'm like, I don't even look at it as working out. Like, I feel amazing, and I love to go walking at the beach. I love to hike. I love to be on a paddleboard on the ocean. I love to do yoga. I feel amazing doing that. And and I really love my boot camp. I know that sounds crazy, but it's awesome. And so I find those things that I love that are outside and that are active. And I get it. My family's from Indiana, so it might not be nice outside all year round.
Right.
But there are opportunities to be in a gym and go swim in a pool, or to go walk around a track, or to go skiing or snowshoeing, or there are things that are outdoors as well, or that are even indoors that can still allow you to get your blood pumping.
Right.
We have one of these trampolines that I love to jump on. So even just getting up in the morning and jumping on a trampoline is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
health and fitness, again, how full is your tank?
Yep. That's great. Good.
So that's number 4. The 5th one is fun. I believe that we are here to experience life. So many people say, oh, well, I'll go on that vacation when we get more money, or I'll maybe do that hobby when the kids get in school, or they're always waiting on something else. And I believe that we are here to have fun. I believe that we are supposed to be enjoying every moment in life. Even though there might be some things that we're resetting and working on, having fun and laughing and finding those moments every day to really embrace life and enjoy it. And it might be the joy that, watching birds brings my cat, she's so happy watching, like, I'm so amazed that I'm now watching birds. But finding those fun moments, and it could be laughing with friends, it could be going out, it could be enjoying a book, whatever that is to you, whatever's fun to you, that is just like makes you just feel good.
Right.
So just you have those moments.
Right.
Your firm or your career. I put firm in there because I couldn't come up with an F thing. So your firm, your career, your business, whatever that is. And make sure that you're doing something that at least part of it you like. Maybe it's that you like the people you're around, or maybe that you like actually what you physically do. So your firm or your career, what is that in your dream life? What is that currently? Do those match? So looking at what you're doing in life and how you're serving and how you're contributing. I'm going to share a quote with you that I love, and it's by Howard Thurman. And it has to do with life, but it has to do with your firm or your career. And it says, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs is more people to come alive. I truly believe this quote. I think that if more people were doing as a job what they loved, then our world would be a different place. Our society would be a different place. How we operate would be different. And I believe that our firm or our career is the way we serve. I think our society's gotten a little cattywampus in the way that we are working, because so many people, I have family and friends that, like, they love music, but yeah, they're working at a state office, or like how far apart is that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you find something in music? Maybe it's in a record store. Maybe it's in designing, the album covers. I don't know, but how do you find something in an area that you love and make that your firm, make that your career, and make that in a way that you can also serve and do something that you're empowered and passionate by?
Right. Right. That's great.
So again, as we're writing out our dream life, we're just taking in all of these F's.
Okay.
A couple more.
Okay, go ahead.
Finances is a biggie for a lot of people. And in this area, I also include contribution, because that's incredibly important to me. So not only what you make and you bring in for your personal life, for your family, for your experiences in life, but also what you give away. And I find that the more you give away, the more it comes back to you. And it's, make it a reality. I have talked with people, and it's so funny because they'll write down, like, I want a Ferrari, but they're driving like a 82 Camry, you know, and like that's so far away from what you can believe.
Yeah.
Like something to like filling your gas tank. And I've said like, it's hard to take somebody from riding a bicycle to Ferrari. So let's go from riding a bicycle to getting like a Camry to getting a Benz, and then maybe we'll move on to the Ferrari. So I just feel like take it in like some chunks that you can believe.
Yeah.
And that's part of writing out your dream life. I am a believer in vision boards, and I am a believer in I create like mind movies and all this stuff. But I want those things to be, I want to have like the big picture, but I also want those things that I believe that I am, that would be fulfilling to me as I'm writing my dream life. Like I don't have to have a Ferrari. I actually love my little Prius, and I would like to get a Tesla. So, you know, so that's my stretch. But I think that being able to, you know, write your finances, and for some people, I'm going to make a point here, getting out of debt. So I believe that the universe does not know grammar. So stop saying getting out of debt, because the only thing the universe hears is debt. Does that make sense?
The last word that's on the
last word. You hear all these people that say, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to get out of debt, but the universe hears weight, so they stay heavy, or debt, so you stay in debt. So just reframe the way that we speak about that, and especially in the world of finances. I want to create abundance in my life. I want to have financial abundance, or I want to create wealth, or something like that. So just really stay on like the positive word, for the fact that I think the universe likes to joke with us and takes us very literally in the subject that we're talking about.
I understand. Yep.
Makes sense? So when we're talking about finances and creating our dream life, really use the wording that's abundance and wealth, and creating what you really desire in a way that's a positive, you're speaking in a positive way.
Okay.
And then the last thing is feelings. And I think there are so many people that are on depression medication and anti-anxiety medication and ADD medication. I think that there are so many people that are not feeling amazing. It's really paying attention to your feelings. And, you know, there's a scale of feelings. And, you know, if you're feeling depressed, you're probably not going to jump up to happy, ecstatic, exuberant right away.
True.
So get up to the next rung on the scale. What's going to help you feel at least content?
Right.
You know, so like, let's get you to like the next rung on the scale. So just paying attention to feelings, and before you know it, you're like exuberant and happy and amazing. But it just takes like a little bit of really being aware and paying attention to where you are in life. So those are 8 F's. I'll recap them really quickly. Faith, family, friends, fitness, fun, your firm or your career, finances, and feelings. And again, they're in no particular order. Do whatever feels right to you. Whatever, if it's a scale, if it's a 1 to 10, if it's pieces of a pie or filling up a gas tank, just look at how fulfilled you are currently and what you want your life to be.
Right.
I like that. I like that circle.
Writing out your dream life.
I like the circle, the mandala, you know, an importance on one over the other, but just which one is how full are in each area.
Exactly. No importance on one or the other. And there are going to be times in life where certain areas just have to take more priority. You know, if you just had a child, and, you know, family's going to be pretty up there.
Pretty important for a few more weeks.
And then other times, as the kids go off to college, other pieces are going to be more important. Your feelings and how you're creating your career or your firm or your reinvention of life. So just looking at being patient with yourself in that.
That's
Absolutely.
We were speaking with somebody last week who talked about the fact of balance. Maybe she just put the word balance out of her life. She said, forget balance.
It's harmony.
I like harmony. So I'm picturing all these interplaying and having a harmonious relation to one another. And some things need to be a little bit louder
at
times, and some things need to tamp down a little bit. So I appreciate this very much. I'm
absolutely.
sorry.
No, I was just only because we're running out of time, which unfortunately we could talk to you forever, for days. But we did the 5 steps. We went 1, 2, 3, and then we got on the
5?
Yes.
We just want to know 4 and 5 before we have to.
Absolutely. So number 4 is create your strategy. So it's great to have a dream life, But number 4 is you need to have a strategy. So writing out like what might 1 or 2 things be that you can do in each one of these areas to get you to that next level or to fill your tank a little bit more. And then number 5 is make a plan for action. There are so many people that write vision boards and write out their dream life, but they never take any action. And so it's really getting up in the morning and acting as if you already have that dream life and taking action in the way that is going to help you move toward it.
Yeah.
Right.
So Vicki, let's just to clarify, the create your strategy is so creating a strategy is planning ahead, but then actually taking the action would be the 5th step.
Setting the alarm to go to the gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There you go.
And these 5 steps are all to reset your life.
Yeah.
And really
you can do
tune
that
into
in
your GPS.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And clearly you've reset your life a whole bunch of times. And so as far as I'm concerned, you're an expert on this.
That's right.
Absolutely. Very much
Done a lot of reinvention.
Right.
And very inspiring.
Yeah.
So
Oh, thanks. Well, like I said, is in the moment that we can turn around and help somebody else, then I think those challenges are worth it. You know, so if there's somebody that's been through tough times or is in the middle of a tough time right now and trying to figure out which way to go, if the things that I've experienced and have used to help me create the life that I really love now, if that can help somebody else, then that's exactly why I'm here.
That's exactly
perfect.
right.
that's what we're all about.
Great.
Well, Vicki, where can people find you? And tell us what you've got that people can access or any projects that you've got coming up. You know, go ahead and share a little bit. Go ahead and plug yourself.
Sure. My website is VickiHiggins.com. It's VickiHiggins.com, VickiHiggins.com. You can find me there.
Mm-hmm.
I have private consulting that I do for people that are going through these moments if you want a little bit more. I have a complimentary report that I'll send to people. You can just send me an email, Vicki@VickiHiggins.com, and I'll send that right away. We're revamping my site at the moment, so the opt-in isn't up right this second, but just send me an email and I'll send that right out. And I have group training, and then I also have private consulting, and that always helps people move through those moments in life.
Yeah.
Is that personal consulting for any sort of a thing as opposed to I know that we talked in the very beginning about your corporate, your corporate coaching with CEOs. So when you say which?
I think it all blends. I think we are energetic beings that have a lot going on in our life. And if one area of life is having a struggle, then most likely other areas are too. So business and life coaching. So if people need a little bit more business strategy, I can help with that. But oftentimes they're coming to me because they're also struggling with some things in life. So it's a business and life coach, and we'll just look and understand a little bit more about the specific situation and what you really want to move through, what that frustration is that you really want to move through. So I have people fill out an application and send in an assessment, and then we'll kind of determine from there if that makes sense, if I'm the right person for them. And then if I am, then we'll go next steps and do online coaching or online consulting. And I have a couple different packages available for people to do that.
That's great.
Excellent. Thank you. That's great.
Thank you
so much. So everybody, you've been listening to Mighty Married Moms, and our guest today has been Vicki Higgins from VickiHiggins.com. And if you want to reset your life, go find Vicki. And in the meantime, also please check us out at MightyMarriedMoms.com, and also subscribe in iTunes to the podcast. And we will look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Mighty Married Moms. Tune in twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to meet fascinating and inspiring guests who will help you create the life you've always wanted.
You can find these episodes and special gifts just for you at MightyMarriedMoms.com, as well as a link to our Facebook community,
where we continue the conversation around the kitchen table. Please also help share the love by leaving a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.